Hello, I am Brian, and today we will be going in depth with the story of the Zodiac Killer. Imagine living in a world where a killer is not only stalking his victims, but also openly taunting the police, the media, and the public. A world where cryptic letters are sent to newspapers, riddles fill the pages, and a killer leaves behind no clear identity, only chilling mysteries. This is the world of the Zodiac Killer, one of the most infamous serial killers in history. His reign of terror lasted from the late 1960s to the early 1970s, and despite dozens of investigations, his true identity has never been revealed. Tonight, we dive deep into the disturbing story of the Zodiac Killer, examining his crimes, his messages, and the haunting questions that remain unanswered. It all began on December 20th, 1968, when two teenagers, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, were shot and killed near Vallejo, California. It was a seemingly random act of violence, but it would soon be clear that this was just the beginning of a darker, more calculated series of killings. Less than a year later, on July 4th, 1969, the Zodiac Killer struck again. This time, he targeted Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau at a secluded spot near a lake in the Bay Area. The killer approached the couple in their car, tied them up, and then shot them. But the most chilling part of this crime wasn't just the brutal murder. Michael survived the attack and was able to provide a description of the man who had shot him. Michael's testimony was one of the few clues law enforcement had, but it wasn't enough to catch the killer. What followed was even more disturbing. The Zodiac sent a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle, claiming responsibility for the murders and including details about the crime that had not been released to the public. This letter marked the beginning of the Zodiac Killer's twisted game with the media, a game that would continue for years. Over the next few months, the Zodiac would take credit for multiple other murders, and his pattern began to emerge. But what made this killer even more terrifying wasn't just his crimes, it was his ability to stay hidden in plain sight, constantly mocking the police and the public. Following the murders of Ferrin and Mageau, the Zodiac Killer didn't just stop at killing. He needed the world to know what he had done, and he sought to gain fame through cryptic letters sent to the press. These letters, which often contained bizarre ciphers, left law enforcement and cryptographers scrambling for answers. The first cipher the Zodiac sent, known as the 408-character cipher, was a simple substitution cipher that took a few days to decode. When it was solved, it revealed a chilling message. The Zodiac, in his own words, explained his desire to kill, describing it as the most thrilling experience. But the message left another chilling note. The killer's identity was still unknown. Yet this wasn't the end of the Zodiac's cryptic behavior. Just 2 months later, he sent another cipher, a 340-character cipher, which was even more complex than the first. This cipher would remain unsolved for over 50 years, leaving even the most skilled cryptographers puzzled. It wasn't until 2020 that a group of amateur codebreakers managed to crack the cipher, revealing a message that was equally disturbing, but still didn't provide any clues to the Zodiac's identity. Then in 1970, the Zodiac would send even more ciphers, further confusing the police and adding to the public's fear. But what made the ciphers so sinister was not just their complexity, but the Zodiac's cold, detached tone. In one letter, he even wrote about how he enjoyed killing and how he would continue to kill until he was caught. But instead of being afraid, he felt empowered. The Zodiac's next victim was a young couple, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Ann Shepard, who were enjoying a quiet day near Lake Berryessa in California on September 27, 1969. As they sat on the shore, they were approached by a man wearing an unusual hood and a symbol of a cross circle drawn on his chest. Without warning, the man pulled out a gun, tied them up, and proceeded to stab them both. Afterward, he drew the same cross circle symbol on Hartnell's car door. He then calmly walked away from the scene, leaving the couple to bleed out. Hartnell, however, survived the attack and was able to provide a description of the Zodiac Killer. Once again, the Zodiac sent a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle, boasting about his latest crime and even including a sketch of the symbol he had drawn. The killer's desire to be known and his complete lack of remorse were undeniable. Brian Hartnell's description of the Zodiac was chilling. The man he described was tall, with a heavy build, and he spoke in a very matter-of-fact tone. No emotion, no empathy, just a man on a mission. Despite Hartnell surviving, the Zodiac's apparent lack of fear of being caught only intensified. While the Zodiac Killer was terrorizing the Bay Area, he continued to send cryptic letters to the media, each one more sinister than the last. In 1970, he sent a letter to the Chronicle stating, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." This letter revealed not only his sadistic nature, but also his growing ego. The Zodiac Killer didn't just want to kill, he wanted to be famous. He wanted the world to know that he was capable of evading capture, and he reveled in the fact that law enforcement couldn't solve the case. By the time of his last confirmed murder in 1969, the Zodiac had already developed a pattern of sending letters after each attack, taunting both the police and the public. He seemed to be playing a game, but it was no game for the victims and their families. The police were on the hunt, but the Zodiac was always one step ahead. Despite multiple investigations, the Zodiac continued to elude capture. Over the years, there were several suspects, most notably Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester. However, DNA evidence could never conclusively link him to the crimes, and many experts believe Allen was a red herring. As for the Zodiac's true identity, theories abound. Some believe he was someone with intimate knowledge of law enforcement procedures, while others speculate that he was a member of the military or a highly intelligent individual who reveled in the chaos he created. Theories and suspects come and go, but the truth remains elusive. In 2004, the Zodiac Killer case was officially closed by the San Francisco Police Department, citing a lack of new evidence. Yet for many, the case is far from over. With new technology, new DNA analysis methods, and a continued obsession with the case, the Zodiac remains one of the most talked about mysteries in criminal history. Over 50 years have passed since the last confirmed Zodiac murder, yet his legacy still haunts us today. His cryptic letters, unsolved ciphers, and chilling murders continue to inspire countless documentaries, books, and movies. The mystery of his identity endures, and each new revelation or clue only deepens the intrigue. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror changed the way police investigated serial crimes, and his case remains a textbook example of how obsession, ego, and violence can combine into something truly terrifying. As we look back at his crimes, we are left with one haunting question. Was the Zodiac Killer simply a product of his time? Or is he still out there, watching, waiting, and hoping his mystery remains unsolved forever? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the mind of the Zodiac Killer. His case remains one of the most chilling and frustrating mysteries in criminal history. Do you think we'll ever know his true identity? Or will the Zodiac Killer remain one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more true crime stories and deep dives into the unknown. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay safe, and always question everything you see, because some mysteries may never be solved.